Hola clase, me llamo Señora Bankston and I am your Spanish 1 teacher for this semester. This presentation is going to go over the syllabus with you, since that means that we will not have to use class time in order to do it, and also it gives you the opportunity to answer some questions and make sure that you know everything that is going to be expected of you for this semester, right? So, starting off with my name, yo soy la profesora, I am the teacher, Señora Bankston. Correo means email, and you can contact me at bmbankston@madisoncity.k12.al.us. Right? Please realize that your emails will be read and responded to on school days from 8 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. It's possible that I will get to them later in the day, but of course that is while I am teaching. So chances are I might see it, but I might not get back to it. And then I do not respond to emails after school or read emails after school. So that means if you send me something after school, expect for it to be read the next morning if that's the school day. Okay? All right, so our syllabus, this is the PowerPoint presentation of our syllabus. There will also be a PDF copy in Schoology if you would like to print that out and have it with you. It's possible that I might also print it out for you so that you can have it in class. All right, all of this information is very important, and whether you pay 100% attention to everything, you will be expected to know what is in it, and the rules of the classroom is what's going to be in the syllabus. If something is not in the syllabus, I will state it in class, and those rules still apply. Rules and policies still apply if they are not in the syllabus, and I will possibly go back and update it for example, for like classroom rules added during the semester. Okay, so let's get into it because this is going to take a minute anyway. Looking at our second slide, it says course description. Let's see if I can move. Can I move this? No, that is not what I want to do. I'm trying to move it out of the way. And then I just did something that I wish I did not do. Okay, guys, here we are. Course description. In this class, you will build literacy and communicative abilities in Spanish through a variety of interesting activities. We will explore various themes via meaningful, contextualized communication in accordance with national and state standards for world language education. If I were to go back to this picture really quick, the picture you see here, can I draw an arrow? The picture you see here, that is ACTFL. That is what your world language teachers use for our policies, the procedures, the expectations, what you're expected to know when you leave each level of the class. Okay, so any type of policies or procedures that I go to, know that for the most part it comes from ACTFL. Okay. So let's see, where was I? Yes, national and state standards for world language education. As you are exposed to enough purposeful, comprehensible language through listening and reading activities designed to support acquisition, you will increasingly be able to communicate more easily by writing and speaking in Spanish. Listen, we will communicate in Spanish 90% or more of the time in each class. Another reason why this video is made for you to go over the syllabus, because I of course can't go over this in class in Spanish, so here we are. Okay, so that means I will be speaking in Spanish in class 90% or more. How will you understand me? Well, especially since this is Spanish 1, that means a lot of the time I will be using words that are called cognates. Cognates are words that listen or look similar in one language and another. So if I wanted to say similar in Spanish, it would be similar. That's a cognate. So that's why you want to make sure that you're always paying attention and focused on me. In addition to that, I will be acting things out for you. There'll be pictures. I'll be pointing to the pictures. I will repeat things several times on purpose so that you hear things over and over again, so that as long as you are following along, paying attention, eyes and ears open, with the purpose to understand what I'm saying and what I'm doing, you will get it, okay? Also, realize that you will be expected to participate in the task necessary to acquire a language, meaning listening and reading to understand, right? No, you will not be able to stay in Spanish 90% or more of the time, but if we are going over something in Spanish, that means that you should be learning the vocabulary so that you can then use it later. I'm sorry, my light just went off in my classroom. Let me see if I can fix that. All right, that's better. So, listening and reading to understand, not passively listening, not just sitting in the room expecting for Spanish to magically absorb into your brain. You're going to have to actively listen. Think while you are listening. If I'm asking you questions, you should be trying to answer them in your head or out loud if I'm asking you to say it out loud in class. Make sure, even if I'm not speaking directly to you, that you are pretending that I am. That's how you're going to get the practice that you need in order to speak and or write in Spanish. Okay? If you stay engaged and open to the process, which means you must participate, you will do very well in this class and increase your proficiency in the 4 basic skills of communication. Every day, we will listen, read, write, sing, and speak in Spanish. We won't sing every day, but several days, yes, we will. By the end of the semester, you will have a portfolio that demonstrates your growth in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Okay? So, the big question is, how will I be graded? And I use this very important word on the last slide, which is called proficiency. Okay? Grades are based on proficiency and nothing else. There is no extra credit in this class. Okay? You're going to hear that several times. All right? Proficiency. What is proficiency? Proficiency is what you can do in Spanish. That is how you're graded, on what you can do in Spanish. It's not just a collection of points trying to get a certain grade. Your grade will reflect what you can do in Spanish, and I will show you how on the next slide. But basic JCHS policies, remember that your daily grades are 30%. Daily grades include classwork and homework. If we have notebook checks, participation activities, assignments that we do for completion, those are all daily grades, and that's 30%. 70% of your grade is test grades. What falls under test grades in my class? Tests, of course. Quizzes. All of your quizzes are also test grades. And then any projects that we have. And projects can be something that was like a research-based project, which in Spanish 1 more than likely will be something that you learn about. You do your research, and it's information that you are learning in English because you're not at the level where you can learn that in Spanish yet. Another project could be like a speaking presentation, because we do have speaking grades. We have writing grades where you'll have to write like a short essay. Then Spanish 1, an essay would be like a paragraph, 7, 8, 9 sentences. Okay, those are your test grades. And then at the end, your final exam, know that is 20% of your final average. That's what FA stands for. It's 20% of your final average. And your final exam is 3 parts. It is a speaking test. And realize that just about every test in class is set up the same way that your final exam is set up. There's a speaking part to it. There's a writing part to it. And then there's reading and listening, which is on a test of its own. So there's 3 parts. Okay. For quizzes, just to keep you in mind, remember that this class is only 18 weeks, and we're going to cover a lot in 18 weeks, 1 semester. So that means that you should expect a quiz or a test every week. Okay, you're going to be giving your vocabulary, and then by the end of that week, I'd say about 3-4 days later, you're going to have a vocab quiz on the vocabulary. So you need to make sure right when you're given your vocabulary list, you start studying it. And I always say, make sure that you study and know the words English to Spanish, meaning if I say apple, you can say manzana, because that means you're pulling the Spanish out of your brain, not the other way around. If I say manzana and you say, oh, that's apple, that's not pulling out Spanish. That's just recalling that, oh yeah, manzana means apple. That's not going to help you in the class. You need to know how to say apple in Spanish. I need to be able to say apple and you say manzana. I need to be able to point to an apple and you say manzana. Okay? It's a different level of understanding. Okay? So, proficiency. This slide talks about proficiency. And it goes along with how you are graded. Okay? So, the first column, you see that it says immeasurable. I failed to communicate or am unable to deliver comprehensible messages, which is an F, right? Obviously, this is Spanish class. If you can't communicate in Spanish, you're going to fail, okay? The next part is novice low, and remember that these levels are from ACTFL, which is our national organization that tells us how we teach world languages. All right, so novice low in Spanish 1 is a D. It means that you're developing in the language. It says I can communicate on some very familiar topics using single words and phrases that I've practiced and memorized. I can use a smaller number of repetitive words and phrases for common objects and actions. Okay, so look at how easy it is just to pass the class, right? Single words and phrases. Once you can do single words and phrases, that is a D, okay? So that's why I say the only way to fail this class is if you do nothing, right? Because, hey, we already know how to say apple, right? Manzana. There you go. At the bottom it says, I can level up, because you always want to know, how do I level up? I can level up by speaking in full sentences. You're going to hear me say this all the time in class. This frase completa, that means make it longer. Give me a full sentence, and that's how you make your grade go up. Practice asking questions. And then continue to learn new words, right? That's why your vocabulary is so important. You're going to need to know more words so that you can say more things, okay? Our next level is novice mid, which would be a C in Spanish 1, approaching. I can communicate on very familiar topics using a variety of words and phrases that I have practiced and memorized. I can use a limited number of words and phrases for common objects and actions, but they are repetitive. Okay, and this is where a lot of you are going to be starting off. You're going to learn more and more words, but it's limited. So you're going to be saying the same words over and over again. And realize that this is where you're in a C. This is where you stay in approaching. Because yes, you're speaking Spanish, but you want to make sure that you are always pushing yourself to do and say more. Okay? How do you level up? I can level up by adding details. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Más detalles. Más. That's giving me more details. Support your opinion. You're going to hear the phrase por qué, which means why. Tell me why. Support your opinion. Talking around words you don't know. Always, number one thing, if you have to write in Spanish or if you have to speak in Spanish, do not speak English or any other language. So if you don't know the word, figure out a way to say it with the words that you do know, okay? That's called circumlocution when you're talking around the word. And then keep the conversation going by asking follow-up questions, okay? The next level is novice high, which is a B in Spanish 1, which means that you're proficient. So most of you will be in this category. You'll be proficient, which means I speak Spanish on a Spanish 1 level, okay? I can communicate and exchange information about familiar topics using phrases and simple sentences, sometimes supported by memorized language. I can elaborate a little. I can usually handle short social interactions in everyday situations by asking and answering simple questions. Okay, so this is where you have your simple sentences, your simple phrases. You can handle yourself, you can give a few details, right? This is when you're proficient. This is a B, and like I said, this is where most people will be. You're proficient. Good job. For those of you who want to take it farther, or further, that will be intermediate low. In Spanish 1, that is your A. That is advanced. I can participate in conversations on several familiar topics using simple sentences. I can begin to give more details and elaborate on a topic. I can handle short social interactions in everyday situations by asking and answering simple questions. Hashtag goals, all right? So this is when you always give details. The difference between a B and an A most of the time is consistency and details. You always give details. You always elaborate. You always give follow-up questions. Your vocabulary is extensive. That's why you want to make sure you're always studying your vocab words. And then you can handle yourself, because by the end, I'm going to be asking you questions. Yes, I'm always going to ask you about something that we've studied in class, but can I just throw out a question to you that you're not expecting and you still be able to handle yourself? That's where you get to this level, okay? All right, so that is how you make an A in this class. Realize this is what you must do to make an A in this class, okay? Right, here we are to some housekeeping, regular housekeeping for all your classes, and it's your supply list. First thing you're going to need is a notebook. I would say you can have the regular one subject notebook with pockets, because you are going to have handouts that you want to be able to keep and not lose. Or a binder. I used to do notebooks, but this year things are a little different because of COVID. So you can have a binder as well. Just make sure that you keep your information organized. Okay, you're going to need to keep your information organized, because your notebook, if you keep everything in a notebook, because it's easier to have it organized, that is your study guide. Whenever you are studying for a quiz or whenever you're studying for a test, you will go back to your notebook. You will have to review your notes and the practice activities that we did in class. And that's how you prepare for the test, okay? Because when you get your test or when you get your quiz, everything is going to be written in Spanish, okay? Everything will be written in Spanish, and you're going to need to be able to respond in Spanish, okay? All right. I also say you're going to need highlighters. You need highlighters for our reading activities. We'll read about a short story a week, and then more towards the end. Colored pencils for the activities that we do. Tape is also for those of you who have notebooks, and if I give you a handout, or we will also have our daily bell work or our class starters. You're going to need tape so that you can put that on the page. Those will need to be organized as well, and you'll need to keep those. Make sure you keep those for future assignments when we do our bell work check. A laptop computer is suggested for everyone in class because of where things are right now. I do not take up I take up very little things in class because of COVID and the guidelines and procedures that we have to follow because of that. So that means that most of your daily work, I would say 99% of the work that you turn in class, must be turned in online. And what I do in order to help with that is that I do give you class time in order to turn that in. So if you have your computer with you, and then a lot of times these things can be turned in on your phone as well. So laptop is suggested, but a lot of people will be able to use their phones. And then earbuds. You will need earbuds for our listening activities that we do. I'd say about every other day in class, you are going to need some earbuds for that. Okay. Here we go. This is going to take a second, longer than a second. These are our classroom procedures, expectations, and guidelines. Make sure that you are paying attention because the rules that are put forth in this part of our syllabus will be strictly adhered to in class. So make sure that you're aware of them. Now, first off, that's me on my soapbox. We've got classroom behavior, and it says virtual because the syllabus was changed this year because we started off virtual and we might be virtual again. We got to be flexible this year. We don't know what's going to happen. But 1, students are expected to be prepared for class and respectful towards others in all forms of communication that the classroom, virtual or face-to-face, uses, okay? Number 2, upon entering a live virtual class, students should be dressed appropriately, especially from the waist up. Make sure that you're ready to start with your cameras on, okay? 3, students will be expected to actively participate in the virtual format as if in a face-to-face class. This is going to be extremely important whenever we, or if ever we go back to virtual. You need to make sure that you are still engaged, all right? Because this is Spanish class. You still have to learn Spanish, okay? Whether it's virtual or face-to-face. 4, students are to be signed in for live classes on time when possible. With the camera on, no pictures or icons should take place of the student's presence. Number 5, students should leave microphone muted unless there are questions or the teacher prompts students to unmute for class discussion and participation. Number 6, students will remain for the live class presentation until dismissed by the teacher. Number 7, all assignments are expected to be submitted by the due date for the possibility of full credit. Assignments turned in late, which means not turned in by the due date, will receive an immediate 25% penalty. We're going to explain this again later, but of course it's here because it is very, very important. Assignments are due the day they are posted or the day they are assigned. Unless I post a project and say it's due a week later, daily work is due the day it's posted. If it is turned in or completed after that day, it is late and will receive an automatic 25% penalty. No assignments will be accepted beyond 1 week late. So that means on Friday, this is what that means, clarification. On Friday, every assignment due that week, Monday through Friday, is due. That's the deadline. After Friday, it will not be taken, okay? So let's move on because I'll talk about that more later. Number 8, of course, follow all rules in the JCHS Student Parent Handbook and Madison City Schools Handbook, even if we end up back in a virtual environment, okay? Madison City School rules still apply. Next, class attendance and makeup work. Students are expected to attend class if they are healthy enough to do so. Students missing class time will find it difficult to stay with the pace of the course and will have to work extra hard to catch up. Please realize we are constantly learning Spanish. If you miss a day, you are going to miss a lot. So make sure that you stay on task. If you miss a day, you need to make sure that you go back and you study and complete all the assignments for that day, and try not to get too far behind, okay? Any missed work will be found in Schoology, and I'll explain the organization of Schoology later. If they need more assistance at any time, students should meet with me It says during student support times, and that's when we're in a virtual environment, we have student support times. If anything else, you need to come to me before or after class or before school. Students are allowed to enter the building at 7:45. Come to me before school to tell me what you need help with and what you need to do. Do not wait. Students will be expected to make up all daily work missed. That means your bell work, you need to get your notes, any videos that we watched, any reading assignments that we completed, you need to do it, okay? During an absence within 3 days of returning to class. Everything, including handouts, videos, lesson plans, and objectives, will be found in Schoology. Each student will have 2 opportunities on a 2-week time frame to make up a test or quiz before the grade of 0 becomes the final grade. So if you are absent a day, there was a test, then that means that you need to come in. Hopefully, if you prepared, especially if you know you were absent, email me and let me know I was absent. The best case scenario is if you can come in the very next morning before school at 7:45 to make it up, right? That's the best scenario. You don't want to wait too long because after test day, we're moving on to the next unit. And that means a whole new set of vocab and we'll start doing all that. So you don't want to wait too long. You want to make sure that everything we're tested on is fresh on your mind. If you know you are going to be absent, however, for some reason, because of what's going on, it is possible that I will have a virtual version of the test or the quiz for you. It will not be likely, but it is possible. So if you know you'll be absent, you do have the opportunity to let me know ahead of time. And if so, that means you could take your test or quiz virtually that day that you were out, okay? Academic dishonesty. Student work, including projects, quizzes, tests, and daily work that is produced by copying others, using translation websites like Google Translate or anything like that, and or using other unauthorized material or people is not acceptable and will not be scored, okay? Keep this in mind. It will not be scored. If you hand in work that is obviously not done by a Spanish 1 student, it will not be scored, okay? As a rule, if you can't do it with a paper dictionary or if you didn't do it on your own, it is cheating, okay? So that means if you have a friend that speaks Spanish, can they help you with your project where you have to write a paragraph about yourself? No, you need to do it on your own, okay? And then can you go online and type in a sentence because you don't know how to say it? No, that is cheating. Like I said, if you can't do it with a paper dictionary, you can look up words, and that is fine. You can use SpanishDictionary.com to look up words or WordReference.com to look up words. Make sure you look over it to make sure you choose the correct word. But yes, you can look up words, but never look up entire sentences or anything more than that in order to complete something in class, okay? Any student involved with cheating on or copying classwork, homework, quizzes, or tests will receive a 0 and will not be able to make up the assignment. The 0 will stay, okay? Self-advocacy and self-directed learning. This is like the biggest, most important thing for all of your classes, not just Spanish. But in any school or work setting, students must advocate. Is that popping up? Let me get rid of that. Students must advocate for themselves to be successful. What does that mean? It means you need to speak up. You got to speak up. If you don't understand something, if you need some help with something, you got to speak up. All right? This means that students are responsible for asking questions when they do not understand. And realize I will stop and pause and ask for questions like 20, 30 times during the class. So don't be afraid to ask your questions because I promise you, you will not be the only one who needs to know it, okay? So always ask a question if you are not understanding something, okay? It also means that they should seek out information independently when necessary. Okay. So if you're not in class and you don't understand something, Google is your friend. Google is your friend. Come on, guys. And especially since you're in Spanish class, Spanish is like the most widely taught language in the United States. So there are resources all over the place for you. Okay. There's a plethora, what I just said, a plethora of resources available to support your learning, including tutoring. You see, I marked out during refuel because we don't have it this year. With students in Spanish Honor Society, we also have Key Club, which helps with tutoring this year, or moi. Right? And if you need tutoring with me, that means you need to come before school. Make sure you send an email to set up an appointment so I can make sure that I am here for you. Okay? You also have books, you have websites, tons of websites, wordreference.com, studyspanish.com, Duolingo, you've got apps, and they're all great resources for Spanish class. Especially in Spanish 1, I would suggest you have Duolingo on your app and just while you're taking the class, do Duolingo. It fills in some gaps. It gives you some extra practice. Like, it won't hurt to just find something else to help you out, okay? Students who seek additional assistance will be the most successful in any class, okay? So, if you don't understand, make sure, ask questions. Look for an answer. How are you going to find an answer if you don't look for it? Okay? All right, let's move on. Test taking policy. During virtual learning, tests will be assigned on a specific date and time with no more than a 90-minute time limit, okay? If ever we have to take a test virtually, this will be the case. There is to be no contact with a cell phone or a device, except that you'll have your computer during a virtual test. During tests and quizzes. In the classroom, cell phones must be turned off and put away while you are in possession of a test or a quiz. And I'll go through exactly where your phone needs to be in class during tests and quizzes. Any contact with the device while you have your test or quiz is an automatic 0. Automatic. If you got your phone, you look at your phone while you have a test or a quiz in your possession, automatic 0. So that's why you want to make sure that you follow directions from the very beginning. And basically directions are phone turned off, face down at the top of your desk. Don't touch it so that we don't even run into this situation, okay? Some tests will require you to have a conversation. So realize that we do have conversational tests, speaking tests, give a speech, or write about a topic. The topics and details of those tests are confidential, ensuring that information is considered cheating, right? If we go in rounds and you say you're in the first group that does their speaking test, and then you finish and you come back into the classroom and you start telling people what the topic was, that's cheating, all right? You will get a 0 for your test. So do not do it, okay? Anyone found to be discussing the topics, questions, details, etc. of a test will be given a 0, okay? Next one, retakes extra credit. This is the big one. Retakes, listen carefully. Students may retake up to 3 quizzes each 9 weeks. 3. Quizzes may not be the same as the original, so keep that in mind. If you retake a quiz, it may not be the same one that you took the first time, okay? It might be a little bit harder because it's different. So always study for the first one. Students must make an appointment with me, the teacher, to review any tested material that you need help on and to retake the quiz because your retakes must be done in the morning before school, okay? Retakes must be done within 1 week of the original, okay? So After 1 week, the original grade stays. Why is that? Because the purpose of retaking a quiz is to make sure that you relearn the material and you understand the material before you see it on the test, the big one, okay? Quizzes are usually around 20, 25 points. Tests are usually 100 points. So you want to make sure that you know your material on your quizzes before test day, right? That's another reason why I give opportunities to retake, because I really want you to know the material before you see it on test day. And it's also the reason why it must be done within a week, because remember, after quiz day, we're moving on to something else, okay? So you need to make sure you know everything that comes before it, because Spanish builds on itself. Everything you learned before, you will still have to know at the next level, okay? Extra credit. Absolutely not. There is none, right? All students are allowed retakes. There is no extra credit. Remember, your grades are based on your proficiency, what you can do in Spanish. There are no extra credit assignments, okay? No extra credit. All right, let's go to tardy policy. Shouldn't be a problem since we have so much time in between classes now, but the classroom door will be closed and locked once the bell rings. If you do not have assigned pass when arriving late to class, you will be assigned detention according to the rules of JCHS. All right, so if you're going to be late, get a signed pass from the teacher who made you late, okay? Otherwise, detention. Cell phones. Students are not allowed to have cell phones in class. And what I mean by that is, of course, not watching videos or things on your cell phone while I am teaching, while you should be working on things. We, of course, will be needing our cell phones to complete several activities in class, but you know when you're not supposed to have them, and you know what you're supposed to be doing on your phones, okay? All devices must be turned off and put away. Any unauthorized usage of cell phones or other electronic devices during class will result in confiscation of the device or to be returned at the end of class. This policy extends to all personal electronic devices and headphones, and this will be if it becomes a major problem. I, of course, will just say put away your phone. You shouldn't wear headphones or earphones at all during class unless we're doing speaking activities, so that shouldn't be anything to worry about. But no phones. You see the picture says no food in class. You can have your bottle of water, but no food and drinking during class, and no whining. All right, no whining. Pay attention, follow along, participate, and you will be fine. You'll be excellent, okay? All right. Last part, we're almost done. What to expect in class. And this part of the video basically goes over what to expect in Schoology. So we do not have any issues with, I don't know where to find my assignments, or I don't know how this is organized. Pay attention, okay? So, Schoology folder organization. When you log into Schoology for my class, you will see two folders starting out. You'll have one folder that says resources, and this is where you'll find your syllabus, links to any websites that you need to join for the class, or any other things that you'll need access to all year long. They'll be in resources, okay? And then you'll see a first 9 weeks folder, which is the one that we'll be using most of the time for the 9 weeks, right? For the first 9 weeks folder, it's 10 folders, one for each week. It's already organized, and I have it set up to where you'll only see the folder once we enter the week, okay? Anything later, if I did it right, you won't be able to see it, which means you won't be able to see the second 9 weeks folder until second 9 weeks begins. But you will see the first 9 weeks folder, and when you open it up, it will be basically a folder for each week. It'll be Semana Uno, which means week 1, Semana Dos, week 2, and so on. And then when you click on that folder, you will see a folder for each day that we have class that week, okay? This is, I did a survey last semester, and this is how everyone said that they liked it organized. It was the best way to organize it. So it's divided by the week. You'll click on the week that we're in, and then you'll see a folder for each day. That is your daily work folder. And whatever we're supposed to do, whether virtual or in class, will be in that folder that day. And remember, anything that is posted that day is due that day. Okay? So that means on Tuesday, anything that is due on Tuesday must be turned in by midnight on Tuesday. Anything not turned in by Tuesday, which means if you turn it in Wednesday morning, it is late, and that will receive a 25% penalty. Okay? So make sure you turn in all your work on time. And like I said, I set up the class so that you have class time to complete these, right? And this is to help and make sure everything's turning on time and we don't have any problems or any technical issues. Because if you have a technical issue in class, you need to let me know about it in class so we can try to fix it right then and there. Remember, self-advocacy, right? And then so on and so forth. Wednesday, you'll have another folder that will open up to you, and it will have all those assignments for that day. And remember, anything not turned in the day it's posted is late. 25% penalty. Friday, let me make some marks. Friday is the last day to turn in anything that was due that week. So that means if you had an assignment that was posted on Friday, it's due on Friday. After Friday, I will not take anything else that was due that week. Okay? So you need to make sure you get it done by Friday. All right? And I will probably post this message in every single folder so that you have a constant reminder. Turn in work the day it's due. Anything not turned in the day it's due is a 25% deduction. Anything not turned in by Friday will not be graded. It is late. That's the cutoff point. Okay? Right. So when you open it up on Monday, it'll basically be just like this. Monday or Tuesday for each day, it'll be a checklist. It'll say the assignment that you need to do, or maybe you need to open and view the PowerPoint presentation that we watched that we did in class that day, or a video. Make sure that you do everything on that list. And then, like I said again, I told you guys I was going to say this over and over again. Each assignment is due the same day it is posted unless stated otherwise. If your assignment is not turned in on the day it is due, it is late and will receive a 25% penalty. All assignments must be completed by Friday of the week they are assigned and will not be graded afterwards, okay? So expect grades from the previous week to be updated in iNow by Tuesday of the following week, okay? So that means that notice that everything is turned in online, guys. So that means there's a timestamp for every single activity that you turn in. And on the same Monday morning, when I'm grading all your work, I will be looking at the timestamp. Okay, I will be looking at the date you turned it in, and anything not turned in by Friday will not be graded. All right. All right. If you are ever needing any help or an appointment, make sure that if you have a makeup or a retake, you will need to make an appointment with me to do it before school. Doors open at 7:45. Be sure to send me an email asking for an available day and show up on time so you have time to complete whatever it is that you need to do. Gracias, which means thank you. If you have any questions, you can email me at bmbankston@madison.k12.al.us. Remember, emails are read and responded to between 8 and 9:30 a.m. on school days. All right. Also, any resources that you might need for studying, we have studyingspanish.com, conjugamos.com, Duolingo, seniorjordan.com, tons and tons of YouTube videos, and many, many more. Okay, I'll be sharing these resources with you in class just to make sure you have everything you need. And remember, guys, just participate, put in that 100% effort, and this class will be a wonderful learning activity or a wonderful learning situation or a wonderful, it's going to be wonderful, okay? All right, see you guys later, and make sure you turn in the assignment. Adios.